Hello, and welcome to Speak Up for Our Planet. All the recordings you find on this channel are of specific environmental topics. The speakers illustrate and explain their subject and are open to questions from the audience. If you'd like to join us live, please visit our website and click Join Us. Today's speaker is also speaking about plastic pollution, but in a very, very different way. So Gert-Jan van Dommelen, and I did ask him how to pronounce his name, and he was very sort of compromised about it because he said there's lots of different ways to do it. So hopefully I did well enough. He is the founder and part founder, I think, co-founder and
co-founder, co-chair.
Yeah. Co-founder and co-chair of End Plastic Soup, which is a wonderful name. This is a Rotary-based organization which has spread in the time I've known about it absolutely amazingly all over the world, and it's dedicated to reducing plastic pollution in all sorts of ways and making sure that much less plastic gets into the environment in the first place, and that as much as possible of it is scooped out of the sea before it does any harm. We all need to be aware about this. Everybody needs to understand that plastic pollution is damaging us, damaging animals, damaging sea creatures. And so the work that Gert-Jan and his colleagues do is very important. And I would really encourage you to share the recording of this talk with as many people as possible, because it's an important topic. So, Gert-Jan, the stage, so to speak, is yours.
Okay. How much time do you allow me?
I allow you about 20 minutes, and then
that's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. Yeah. Well,
how long do you want?
40 minutes. But
40 minutes from now.
We will check in for 20 minutes if it's still interesting. Okay. Yeah, right. And I will take that into account so that I can slowly rush a little bit.
Ahead.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the introduction, Jane. I'm Gert-Jan van Dommelen, also difficult for me to pronounce. GJ is also a way to say it. And I'm co-founder and co-chair of the task force of SRAC within Rotary called End Plastic Soup. We started 8 years ago, and we now became an organization all of volunteers, grown within the Rotary International Network, now in 67 countries, with over 1,000 clubs in action. So that was really, well, nice. We have about 25 region directors in many different regions of the world. And next month we have the Rotary International Convention in Taipei. So we hope to get more clubs interested. Let me share my screen. And yes, and then make it nice and easy for everybody. And hope you can see this all right. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So End Plastic Soup in this initiative that was started by 5 Rotary clubs in and around Amsterdam. I'm living in a town called Huizen, which is the Dutch word for houses, and which is 40 kilometers east of Amsterdam in this tiny little country. And we use a slogan called Think Globally, Act Locally, which came from my IBM experience. I've been working at IBM for 36 years, was responsible for the technology consulting department in the Benelux. And 6 years ago, I decided, well, that's enough. So I was 59, we could allow it, and I just stopped working. And we all at End Plastic Soup work as volunteers. So we don't make money. It makes us also quite independent and also a little bit more objective. And we can have no reason to do one thing or the other. But it has been an amazing time. So think globally, act locally. We share everything. We also share this presentation with you and videos, etc., and pictures. But we ask people to act locally. From our country, from our perspective, we have no good idea what works and doesn't work in different parts of the world. What I find out, and that's also really inspiring for me, is that plastic pollution does miracles. It connects people. You won't believe it, but everyone on this planet, all cultures, countries, generations, want the same thing. No plastic pollution in the environment. And we have so much polarization all over it. I'm sometimes thinking I will start a political party called End Plastic Soup because everybody votes for us. Everybody agrees. And it's helping us a lot in the collaboration and avoiding all the different opinions. Uh, we are not against plastic, I must say. We are a big fan, you could say, of plastic is fantastic, but we just have too much of it and we don't know enough about the effects. We already know quite a lot, so we are uh, critical to reduce single-use plastic, to avoid microplastics, etc. But plastic is also fantastic because it's lightweight, cheap, and it can be used in many different applications. Um, I would like to show my next slide, and that's the definition of plastic soup, which is not just all the plastic waste in the water, but all the plastic waste in nature, water, soil, and air. And here you see a guy with his goats in a river in Saparua in the Moluccan in Indonesia, which is one of the parts in the world where many people from Indonesia came to Holland after the Second World War and live also in my hometown. And that's how you see the pictures and you think this is really awful. The plastic bags, when they are eaten by a goat, the goat dies. This shouldn't be. So we decided to build End Plastic Soup now in 67 countries, and we focus on awareness and inspiration. One side, the effects of microplastics. They cause health problems and cause climate change. And not many people know this, so we'll explain a little bit more. And also the inspiration. We can stop this. We can do something about this ourselves and as communities. We can use less single-use plastic, use alternatives, reduce microplastics, reuse, reuse, reuse. Don't throw anything away and become circular. And it's helping us in collaboration for education for children, high schools, actions for awareness, and implementation projects of best practices all over the world. And therefore, it's also a catalyst for change to make us rethink how we do things. We just cannot believe that just 25 years ago, for example, we sterilized everything in a hospital. All the tools were sterilized. Today, almost nothing is sterilized. Many nurses and people don't even know how to do it because they just use new plastic and throw away the rest. This is just 25 years ago. Now, hospitals are responsible for 17% of all the plastic waste. Incredible. Short video and subtitled.
Plastic pollution is one of the biggest environmental challenges of our time, but together we can stop it. End Plastic Soup works with Rotary clubs and partners around the world to create real sustainable solutions with lasting impact. From cleaning plastic from the Nile in Egypt to collecting household waste in Lombok, from educating young people in Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines, to youth projects protecting Lake Victoria in Uganda. We support plastic upcycling in India, research expeditions in Spain and Portugal, community projects in Ghana, Honduras, and many more places. Every project has one goal: prevent plastic from getting into our environment so it cannot reach our rivers, lakes, and oceans. Together, we can turn awareness into action and help create a world without plastic pollution. Join now and support End Plastic Soup.
So we're actually really all over the world with ambassador clubs that represent us in their district, their country, the region, and 25 region directors, as I said, in all continents. And it really helps us to adapt our approach and methods and materials and experience and solutions to the local need. We our approach is about awareness, action for awareness, and projects, and collaboration throughout the entire cycle, from research, rethink, redesign, manufacture, to refuse, reduce, reuse, which is more or less a big name also for all waste management. That comes after it. We don't want to throw things away if not needed. And yes, our motto here, you can see it, is start today, do it step by step. We cannot change the world overnight, and do it together. That's, I think, so important. So our goal is to get less single-use plastic worldwide, less plastic waste, best practices, alternatives to microplastics, and legislation. Awareness, 50% is single-use plastic. Many people know this, maybe some not. But we use a lot of the single-use plastic. 3 billion coffee cups per day, 1 million plastic bottles per minute. And if you want to see how that looks like, I will send you after this presentation some links that you can see the videos where that 45 kilos of plastic per person per year. And then our waste management capacity is just not adequate. Many countries use landfills and incineration, also the UK, and that's included in the waste management capacity. Just when it's not available anymore, it ends up in nature, in the waters, in the rivers, of course, and in the forest, and just at the beaches. And our plastic overshoot day in 25 was 5th of September. So all the plastic that we throw away after the 5th of September ends up in nature. Doesn't end up at landfill, doesn't end up at incineration. It just ends up in nature quite a lot. And microplastics are everywhere, really everywhere. It just doesn't disappear. So 10 years ago, we thought, well, after 20 years, a bottle is gone, etc., all these nonsense that we now know. It just breaks down in smaller pieces, and the little pieces still have the same functionality, still have the same toxic chemical additives. And we don't know enough about it. We know now that of the 20,000 chemical additives, 1,100 have been declared toxic and dangerous by the European Union. They're on the list. If you compare that to the United States of America, they have 9 additives on the list, 9 compared to 1,100. We all heard about PFAS and all these kind of things. And then what we see is that textile, your clothes, are 35% of all the microplastics. That's why the previous speaker that you had talked about the filter for washing machines. But the best way is to buy less, to buy better quality, and do not buy anything from Shein or the Chinese companies that just sell you plastic clothes. And they cannot be reused. When you wash them twice, filter or not, it's just wrinkles and you cannot use it again. Car tires are also very important, and think about all our focus on electrical cars who are heavier and have tires that are bigger. 28% comes from the car tires, and we're working with Goodyear and other companies to see if the outside of the tire can be made from degradable plastics. Because car tires, we think they're rubber, but they're all plastic. And other things like, can you imagine 18 billion cigarette butts per day ending up in nature? Not being smoked, but ending up in nature. 18 billion. Why do we throw these things on the floor, away, on the streets, etc.? And the water companies cannot filter the chemicals out of it. There are 2,000 different chemicals in one single small filter. 2,000. Many of them are addictive and toxic. And we all knew, as we are here, that 20 years ago we thought, well, cigarette filters, they can prevent us getting the nicotine in our lungs. But now you get 10 times more nicotine in your lungs, not from the tobacco, but from the filter. It has been designed. It's almost, I would say, it's criminal. And the tobacco industry is realizing this, and they made it more addictive. Anything that we have learned, that they have learned for vapes, has been applied in the filter. So 2 things there you should have, and I will send it to you, make a note, look at the movies of vapes and have a presentation about that, because it's destroying our next generation. 1/3 of the younger generation, high school children in Holland, is at risk for brain damage and all kind of things. But the filters are so bad nowadays that we have asked formally 4 weeks ago to the European Union at a formal request during the evaluation to remove the filter from cigarettes in 2028. And it will be a struggle, David against Goliath, as they say, but it's very convincing. So chewing gum is also a thing, and I have here chewing gum without plastic, but many people don't realize that when you chew gum, you chew microplastics. And of course, there are many cosmetic shampoos, products that are available nowadays in the supermarkets with no microplastics in it. And I'll show to you an app that you can use to remove or to choose for alternatives instead of microplastic cosmetics. Cities, landfills, etc. That's the rest. And if you then look to what happens when it gets into the soil, the worms eat it in normal ways, you can say. They eat it and they poop it out somewhere else. So the microplastics get spreaded. And every single egg in the world has microplastics in it. Microplastics are smaller than 5 millimeters, so 1/5 of an inch. And nanoplastics are smaller than 1/1000th of a millimeter. So you cannot see them anymore. And when you then realize that 1,000 nanometers is 1,000, if you have 1,000 nanometers, it gets up to a millimeter. But if you really are looking to the smaller things, the 0.4 nanometers are invisible by light, but they're also much smaller than a cell of your skin, which is 25 nanometers. So imagine an object of 0.4 trying to hit through a fence of 25. It just goes through. So we have it in our bodies, in our blood, etc. Just to tell you about, we are doing research. One of them is 20 different universities and research centers will publish a report in September about the impact of nanoplastics and microplastics to the soil. And that's very important for food systems. And nanoplastics disturb our health and our hormone system. In normal terms, you call that endocrine disruption. And endocrine disruption is hormone system disruption. It's valid for us, but also for all life on our planet. And you can see it in fertility of boys and girls of 18 years of age. They are now 30% less fertile than they were 20 years ago. It's going fast. And then you can say, well, that helps the planet. Less people. Yeah, but it is the same case for all life on our planet. For plankton, for insects, for all animals, etc. And you get lots of different diseases. So we all get older, but not healthy older. Diabetes, obesity, breast cancer, all kind of mental diseases. And the impact of that has been measured by Chinese researchers a year ago, in March 2025, that the reduction of photosynthesis worldwide is now 13%, which means crops have been reduced for grain, for rice, for vegetables, for fruits. Yeah, and it's now about the same amount as the hunger in the world. So when we would not have war and no logistical problems, we could feed the world already when there would not be microplastics. On top of that, our planet's cooling systems get disabled because they do not eat as much carbon dioxide anymore. Plankton in the oceans does 60%, 60. Fungi does 20, and all green does 20, which means that we can plant trees many we want, but the amount of carbon dioxide absorption is pretty low compared also to the plankton and the fungi, because it needs a time to grow. And when you then have a bushfire, everything goes up in the air again. So our planet's cooling systems are trouble, and many people just know the Paris agreements about our carbon dioxide emissions. Nobody talks about the absorption, which is at least as important and is very much impacted by microplastics. So short, endocrine disruption takes care of fertility reduction for all life, biodiversity loss as a consequence, and also pollination is at risk because the bees sometimes don't know what they do. Awareness is also, after this grooming story, we can do something ourselves. And worldwide actions for awareness are there. We always have actions on the first Saturday of June, which is now this year the 6th, next year the 5th of June. The Saturday is a good day. And next year it will be coinciding with Environment Day. And this year, it ends on the 6th or the 5th of June, is the year of the plastic pollution for the United Nations Environment Program. And I've been presented last year when it started, and we will continue to look at what the oceans and maybe we can learn from them. Lots of different actions, as you can see, all over the world, and really makes you proud, and also is really nice to see how art is being made from waste at schools, events for the public in Germany, but also here on the Thames Valley, where our ambassador clubs do good work, organizing nice events, etc. And we had a week of the plastic-free sea in Portugal last year, November, which will be repeated this year with the week of the plastic-free Mediterranean, with 15 countries participating. And Rotary clubs all in these countries from Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Turkey, Greece, Italy, all the Balkan countries, of course, Albania and Slovenia, but also France, Monaco, Spain will participate, and it will be announced very quickly by the Union, the Plastic-Free Mediterranean of the Prince Albert II, who is our protection person, how you say that, protector. And with a lot of universities over there, quite nice what happens there, all for awareness. Ralph Hardenberg is one of our ambassadors. He went to Nkaunkau, Ghana, and made it the first plastic-free city. And I'll show you some pictures later. We do a lot of education at schools worldwide in different countries with books, with education, with activities for children. And we have a musical and a theater play. But the musical is really excellent. In Holland, in the Netherlands, we are going to publish this musical available for all primary schools in the Netherlands who have grade 7, 8. When they say bye-bye to the primary school, they go to high school. And as an end game, they do a musical, the End Musical, it's called. And they pay a lot of money to provide that musical because it's all very classy, etc. But our musical is free, so they can do it and can use it. And it's really excellent. Part of it is being made by themselves, and they play No More Plastic in the Sea. And it's a musical that we have been doing in Ghana, in other countries. Within 2-3 weeks, you can learn the children how to do it, and the parents love it. Everybody loves it. It will stick in their minds. We'll never forget it. This was Nkaunkau Plastic-Free City. Sorry for the Dutch. But you can see January 25. You can see January 26. Not totally free, but... And the river at the same place. Really, really nice. The government, the mayor, to place, and all the children help to make it free. Awareness through International Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. This year in July in Kosovo. If you know some people, they can still go there, still 6 places. The only thing you have to pay is your trip up to Pristina and back, but everything else will be paid for, and it's for the age 18 to 25. International Railas are also at the end of the year in Ibiza, and we want many children, youngsters, between the age of 18 and 25 to 16 and 25 to be able to meet each other because they inspire each other very much. Alliances is so important. Without others, we cannot do this alone. We can do a lot, but we cannot do this alone. So we use alliances to help us with solutions for doing projects. And these are some of our projects and corporations. Again, sorry for the Dutch. I think Biffy can understand it. Projects and collaborations worldwide. And all of our projects are sustainable and combine education, waste management, upcycling, and economic empowerment. Some examples: the Global Grant for the river project River Drina in Bosnia-Herzegovina. We cleaned this lake in 5 weeks, and it was blocked by an amount of waste you cannot believe. Just stopping a power dam, one of the 2 power dams they had over there, no electricity in the middle of January in the cold. And we just cleaned it, and then we said, yes, but we have to continue with awareness and take your landfill more off the river. This is a side river of the Danube. Much better. We have a 10-year program in Egypt called Nile Plastic Free. Just completed a 4th project in Asyut, which is 500 kilometers south of Cairo. And these fishermen, we give them 33 new boats. We learned the wives in a recycle center to recycle. The fishermen are collecting plastic. The children have a home where, so they don't have to fish in the boat together, which is quite dangerous. And we try to do a step-by-step approach, because the Nile is pretty ugly and we cannot do too much, because then the people will die in Cairo because they live from the plastic waste. This is a new project in Indonesia and Lombok. Organized the household waste collection for 24 villages initially, then next year 48, then the year after 96 villages, which is about the whole of Lombok. Separate organic from the rest and collect the plastic waste for the pyrolysis system that was built over there. And you actually make gasoline, diesel, and kerosene. From every kilo of plastic, we can make 0.54 liters, over 50% of gasoline and diesel. But initially, 5 years ago, I thought this is not good because you cause carbon dioxide emissions again. But for many parts in the world, this is a really excellent way of getting rid of the waste. You can pay the households instead of asking money for the collection. You pay them for the plastic. You pay eco-heroes for every village. It's being collected. It's a real good business case. And if you want to adopt another village for $1,250, you can adopt a village and we will update you every month on the progress of that village. After the 24, we are now at 18, so we need 6 more villages, you can say, for as donations. But then the whole process for extending pays for itself. So next year we want to start in Bali and hope to be realized to make Bali plastic free in 6 years' time. And I think it can be done. It's not including Denpasar and the tourist areas in the south, that's really a mess. But all the villages can become plastic free. We have some experience now. In Ghana, we do a lot of education and collecting and recycling. And now we have a new project called agroforestry, waste to reward agroforestry. And there we pay the household waste collection from composting and creating a fluid fertilizer, which helps the farmers in the north. 2/3 of them are farmers, and they cannot pay for the artificial compost that's made from oil products because that's now so expensive. And so they cannot pay for it, and then they cannot grow their land, they cannot have any vegetables, etc. And this helps them to do that. So it's a win-win-win-win situation. Our young ambassador, we work with young ambassadors all over the world. Nina is one of my favorites. She is really excellent, and we nominated her for the International Children's Peace Prize 25. She became in second, but we are very proud of her. And she, in her own, as a young girl, convinced the European Union to stop the export plastic waste to developing countries. You cannot believe what one person can do. And on the 21st of November this year, the full export of the Europeans to underdeveloped countries will stop. We are still hesitating a little bit because the UK, US, and Canada export a lot of plastic waste through Rotterdam in Holland. And when you don't import it over here, you can still export it because it's not European Union waste. So we're working on that to get that fixed as well. This is a short video of Nina. You will enjoy it.
Dear global leaders, We need a global plastics treaty. Take it from someone who already living in the reality of plastic crisis. Plastic is everywhere, in the sea, in the air we breathe, in the water we drink, and even in our bodies. The treaty must address all the ways that plastic pollutes, from when it's made to when it's wasted, starting with producing less plastic and stopping plastic waste exports to my country and the rest of the global south. I'm fighting for the healthy and clean world, free from plastic pollution. I want the global leaders to take serious action to fight climate crisis and plastic pollution for the sake of the future generation. It's time to act. No more empty promises. We need a full cycle, legally binding plastic treaty now.
That's clear. Eh? Some tips for less microplastic waste. I will send you this so you can read it in your own time. But one of them is even twice here. And the 11 tips have somehow become 12. Sorry for that. But the Plastic Free Future app is really worthwhile to download. And it shows when you scan the text on the label of a product whether there's microplastics in there or not. And you can choose an alternative. Most of the times they'll show the chewing gum, it will tell you no, contains no microplastics. Then you still have to be careful because it could contain other chemical additives, because it's not just the plastics that worry us, it's the additives that are being added to it. A simple one could also be to ask yourself, do I really need something? Should I buy it? Is there an alternative? Can I go by bike? Things like that. Buy less clothes, buy better quality clothes. Also, don't use the dryer. And don't use plastic products in the dishwasher or the microwave. It's astonishing. We did it as well, but you ruin our water system or sewage system, and it's just not good. You can really detox your home if you look at this list. And in the end, you see here the Plastic Detox is a movie on Netflix, really worthwhile. They follow 6 couples that cannot get children, and they're desperate to get children. After 2 times 70 days, which is the time it takes for semen to develop itself, they found that the guys who had 20% fertility left, where you need at least 40 to be a little bit fertile, they became up to 75% fertile. And 1.5 years later, after they started the movie, 3 out of 6 couples have had a baby. It's really magic. And so we can actually do something about this. Tips for your community: organize a musical, which we're going to do with many schools, hopefully, but you can find your own things to do. So join us if you want to do. You can register yourself also as the Speak Up for the Planet community that you are. If you want to donate, you can do that as well. Otherwise, you can just register as a participating organization without donation. And refuse, reduce, use, and tell others about this, your neighbors, your family, your friends, etc. Our plans are including a river cleanup in Europe on 12th of September, 45 rivers, but also the week of the plastic-free Mediterranean. And we're now starting a new collaboration with lots of other organizations to look how can we make 1 + 1 more than 2. And maybe we can do this with you as well. And there we didn't look at just climate change. We looked at sustainable food security, because freshwater, peace, no violence, no fear, safety, and food are the most important things. And then you can think about education, you can think about how to get a job, how to develop yourself, how to fall in love and marry, etc., etc. But if you don't have the basics, even housing is less important than food, water, and safety. Step by step and together. And that brings us to my one with last slide, I think. Trees, plants, fungi, nature, farming, it all connects us. And I think I realized that in the past years when I learned more and more about fungi. Fungi is 700 million years old. It's the oldest life form. everything that we can see and touch and is based on fungi, is made by fungi. Sometimes I think it's God, yeah, because we say God is everywhere. Well, fungi is everywhere. It's in the water, it's in the soil, it's in the air. It's very intelligent and it can be large. Some fungi are 5 kilometers large, 3 miles, and they are so intelligent. Uh, One of the nice research studies that were done is that you have a plant that has leaves, and there's a goat that likes the leaves. So it starts eating the leaves, and the plant said, "Help, help, help." And it's going to dial 112 or 911 in the US and say to the fungi, because it's a symbiotic relationship, "Can you help me?" And the fungi said, "Yes, of course." And it just starts working. It first of all finds out how to make the plant smell and taste differently so that the goat doesn't like it anymore. And then it's going to tell all other plants in the environment, 250 meters wide circle, about what the fungi has developed and created. Can you imagine that you call the ambulance has to drive to you, has to take you to hospital, the doctors have to find what is going on, they have to find the medicine, the treatment. It takes ages. The fungi uses, don't believe it, yeah, but it's true, 2 hours to make the plant smell and taste differently. Another 2 hours to tell all other plants that this medicine worked. This is so incredible intelligent. So altogether, I think we should choose more plant-based diets to reduce our footprint, but we should welcome the possibilities that there are to learn our children to have a different attitude and look at the creativity and innovation that mankind have. So thanks a lot. I'm stopping. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you
Well,
very much indeed.
I didn't make it 20 minutes, but at least.
No, but not 40 minutes either. So it's great. There's quite a few questions popping up.
Yes.
So I think with my colleague Rosie, we will have a look at the questions and try and make sure that they get answers from you. So the composition of car tires.
Yeah.
Could you just expand a little bit on what you said? You said they were plastic, but what about them could change? What are
The
you
outside.
suggesting?
So the inside is perfect. It's safe, etc., etc. It doesn't break easily. But the outside is losing its tiny particles to the highways, to the roads. And that's what we call fine dust. At least in Holland, we call it fine dust. It gets into your lungs, it gets into the atmosphere, and it's all plastic. And normally you say it's rubber, but it's all plastic. And it doesn't have the nicest chemicals in it. So if you can find a way to develop biodegradable particles that have the same quality, and we can as humans, but it's a long way. It can take 5 to 10 years, but at least several companies are working on it. Then it would save 28% of the particles that are then disappearing. Yes, it's the
Wow.
same tire but a different outside.
Could we jump to one that's just come up, but I think is related? So does rainwater contain nanoplastics?
Yes, it's everywhere. It's even in, so when it falls down, normally you could say, well, it is pretty safe to drink, etc. We should not exaggerate. I mean, we can now measure so much. Hi, Nagioti. We can measure so much of all the data in the world, and we're getting older, but we also must realize that some of it's the exposure that makes the difference. So if you have something that really has a lot of chemical additives, rainwater has not much, and you're being exposed to it, which we now see in some of the clothes, the textile that we use that has these PFAS elements in them. Yeah. You cannot see like athlete shirts that dry up easily, that all the athletes at Olympics, etc., they all have the same shirts. They are really nice and fitting well, also because they have a great figure, but they are exposed to it very, very much. And these textile clothes, these shirts have a lot of PFAS in it. And we all know that PFAS will produce cancer. So what is the limit that you, well, and then you see different things. For example, 30% of the woman has a DNA structure which is more likely to get breast cancer from nylon in the breast, how is it, the bras. Well, what we do, we still have bras with nylon. We already know now for 5 years it's most probably not good for your body. Some of women don't suffer from it, others might develop breast cancer. And it costs $90 to develop bras without nylon. It costs not much to replace the PFAS in these shirts. There are now new products called Caumera, for example. It's a Dutch invention. It's about 10 times more expensive to use than plastic, but can replace the PFAS. And it's worthwhile, I think. It's there. For example, seeds that are being planted, they are being, I say that, coated with a plastic sealing. All seeds, a Dutch invention, we exported it all over the world. So all the seeds that you nowadays have for industrial agricultural use have a coating. And when it's thin enough so the coating falls off in the soil, and it's plastic, and it's not the best plastic because it needs to protect it against fungi. But this Caumera product can replace that coating. And that could be a way, because it is worthwhile, etc., to do that. And what is most important, this new product, existing already for 15 years, but it's difficult to develop it, is also protecting the soil against drought, etc. So people that use it don't have to spray much water. The product helps to cultivate, and you don't have to use as much compost. So there's several ways, and we are really clever people that when we work together and we don't have too much focus on our own profits, we could work quite a lot.
As you say, plastic itself has lots of good uses, but it's the problem is that it's getting itself everywhere, and we just need to reduce the extent to which it gets everywhere.
Well, we need to find out which chemicals are not good. Well, the European Union has now a list of 1100 that will take us till next year before it's really applicable. They extended it last year. And then the producers say, oh, we didn't know, etc. But that's also the weakness of the European Union. But the strength is, these are facts. We know for sure they're not good for us. Let's introduce them also to the United States, all over the world, that everybody knows. Let's share this. And then help the legislation take place. That's what we try to do also with the plastic treaty. End of next month, June, there's a new international negotiation committee for 5.4 of the UNEP. And we try together with the European Union, with Chile and with Ecuador, to get a new plastic treaty installed next year, sometimes in 2027, by the 120 countries of the willing. It's not that Rotary wants to be political, but we can help support some of our politicians to do the right things.
I have a very nice practical question for you here. We have a representative in the audience of an organization called Sustainable Amersham. Amersham is a town, and they're a very, very active group that do a lot of things towards sustainability. And the question is, we have Plastic-Free July approaching, and we would like to highlight the issue, but we need a way to shock people into awareness. And maybe you're just the man to suggest something.
Well, I would say holidays are July. It's plastic-free July because of the summer season. Most countries, except Australia, it's wintertime. But there's some seasons that you use a lot of plastic products in front or together with your children. And especially if you're away from home, you have less access to your metal pans or whatever. So you use more single use or take away food or whatever. It's an excellent way to not or to learn your children that it can be done differently. they accept things being away from home, that it's a little bit differently. It's not the way they used to be it. So it's a way to make a change. And yeah, and try to avoid buying things. Just you have this Maslow pyramid, you know that there's also Maslow pyramid of needs, buying needs. And you can say, okay, do I really need to buy something? And there are 6 stages, and the last stage is yes, I need to buy something new. But nowadays, we just go to the shop and we buy something. We even don't think about it. Well, let's start thinking about it. And holidays or plastic-free July is a great way to think, do I need that straw? It's forbidden in the European Union, but still they have replaced it with others. But the question is, why do you need a straw anyhow? Just drink a cocktail without. You get more easier drunk, yeah? Which is excellent. But you don't need it. You don't need the umbrella on top of your slice of orange or whatever. It's just a matter of we all think it's beautiful, but it's stupid. We package gifts, yeah, with plastic and with curly these things about I always forget how they are called. Well, refuse them. Tell the bookshop, no, the book is fine as it is. Well, you can do a paper, brown paper around it just for
Is that
convenience.
helpful, Nikki? Do you want to unmute? If you were looking for a sort of shocking statistic, really, were you?
Yeah, so I'm just butting. Sorry, I put quite a few questions on the chat. This subject I'm really passionate about. As anyone who will know me, this is where sustainable ambition started in the first place. And with Plastic Free July, we really want to make a bit more noise. And yeah, it's just I mean, I found the video really compelling. And the more people see things like that, I think the more they kind of realise what the issues are. But how it relates to them and their daily habits is the transition, really, isn't it? And just trying to show people they have to really just cut back. And I mean, everything's covered in plastic, which is just unfortunate and really difficult to avoid, but it can be done. And my pet hate is the coffee cup. We're desperately trying to make our town ban the coffee cup, the single-use disposable coffee cup, because it's just, in my view, not necessary. There's nothing wrong with the old-fashioned,
Yeah, bring your own bottle.
do that. And yeah, absolutely. And if you have to walk around with it, absolutely take your own reusable one. And we'd really, really love to get that message across. So yeah, I love what you're doing. It's how to get that one message across to people that's really shocking. That
the
just
one
says,
message is you get sick. And you get sick by using a plastic cutting plate to cut your meat or to cut vegetables. Don't use plastic there because it gets into your body. And most of these cutting plates have been treated in such a way that it's not healthy. This is one way. Fertility is really shocking for a lot of people. I think that, and your children, I just had a granddaughter. She's now 2 months old. Well, 8 months ago, when she was 3 months in the belly of my daughter, her eggs had been developed and are full of microplastics. And the only way to get there is in generations, we can get rid of it, but some things we can already reduce. And use the washing machine less. I tell children at schools, when your parents say your clothes have to be washed, you first look at them, think, are they dirty? Then you smell them, yeah? And if you don't think it's stinky, don't wash them. Tell your mother it's okay, yeah? And the mother
Okay, we
talk.
have quite a number more questions. There are people with their hands up, apparently. I can't actually see it, but
Nagioti.
Nagioti, you have your hand up.
Nagioti, can
Would
you
you
hear
like to ask your question?
yes. Nagioti, you're on.
You're on.
Yes, I'm there. Really, I'm very much agree with an excellent presentation, actually, first of all, and thank you, Jenny, for organizing this session. I'm agree that there is a rain that is not very much pure. It is an acid rain because there is a lot of emissions in the air, that is SOx, NOx. and carbon monoxide and all, which actually in laboratory we are doing analysis for the air pollution. And once the acid rain is there, we are seeing while driving on the roads, there are the potholes. Even though the municipality is working on this thing, but very soon the roads are, the quality is not that much good. That is one of the reason because of the acid rain, and this is also very important. Just mentioned that using the washing machine, because in the industry there is a ETP, and everywhere there is a treatment facilities here or there available, but for the agricultural and the washing machine there is no such restrictions or standards or any quality, because we are now very much attracted towards the fashion designing world, which is they are utilizing many things for the beautification sake, but that in the washing machine the outlet is actually with the microplastics, and that is directly adding to the river or nearby water bodies, so which is creating a problem. And for agriculture also the same way, pesticides or anything run off directly into the river. These are also the reasons. So I'm very much agree with tires also the same things.
Thank you.
Wherever you put, there is a problem.
Yeah, no, you're right. Thank you, Nagyoti.
Thank you, dear.
Manoj, you have your hand up, I believe.
Thank you very much. Fascinating lecture and information. It's always inspiring. I want a couple of observations. One is I feel there is a disconnect with economic argument, environmental argument, and education argument. They're all working separately, and there is no link and there is no continuity or consistency of message. But that's an observation. So maybe there's something work needed to be done there. But
do you say they work separate from each other? Yes.
Yes.
But is there no consistency, or is there just a missed opportunity?
It's not consistent. In other words, you get message from education which is not consistent with the economic argument, or it's not consistent with the education, so information awareness. It's mixed messages. The economic argument is very powerful towards carry on using it because there's no alternative, or profits is a big motive, or in environment there's dump everything, there's nothing, all or nothing argument, stop now, and then the education saying, oh, okay, but there's something is okay, something's not okay, and young people will just not know what to do, and then the peer pressure.
We will try to help them, and we just do it step by step. You cannot expect from people in the Moluccan in Indonesia where we learned
exactly.
a lot of education, because then they have collected all this plastic waste, etc. But they cannot do anything with it because there's no waste management process.
Yes, I agree.
Try to do it step by step.
Yes, I do. So the real opportunity I have, and the suggestion I wanted to give, was legislation, which is all encompassing. So I'm from the medical side background, so I can give you the worldwide massive benefit in terms of disease management, which was to stop smoking. And banning smoking in every place has reduced, especially in the United Kingdom and the USA, the incidence of heart disease and asthma and lung disease has significantly reduced, because we have legislation which completely bans the use of tobacco in places. And likewise, we need to have a legislation to ban plastic of certain nature or whatever in certain industries completely. And so we got smoking, evidence of tobacco and alcohol, and also sugar and salt. So we've got interventions in this area which has made an impact. So why should we not do a legislative impact intervention in use of the most harmful plastics?
I think the UK should just adopt the green legislation of the European Union it's not wrong. It makes it all a little bit equal, and it's good for all of us. And the UK can do it much faster than these 28 countries still left in the EU because they disagree about everything. And
Yes, true.
Yeah,
that's
but
that's one thing. And that you have
there
much.
is
There is sugar in there. There is salt in there. There is plastic in there, and especially we should know more about this. We should share more. That's why I love this. Research that has been done and being reported in the 16th of September by the European Union about the impact on soil. We need to understand which toxic additives are really dangerous, which destroy. We now know a little bit when you see the movie The Plastic Detox on Netflix, you understand the products that destroy our semen, you could say, yeah, for the men, others, but for the women, it will be the eggs in the same way. And we should not use these chemical additives anymore. And then find solutions. Like PFAS is difficult still. We are so dependent on it. We have so many products like cooking pans. You don't want to eat burnt meat every time. It's also not good. So you have to make a choice and a balance. And as we try to work together, I think that's the answer. I really believe I'm a little bit naive and an optimist, but I believe when you have empathy for each other, you understand you're in different circumstances. Some of us are rich, others are poor. Some of us live in regions where there's not much access. We should not point the finger to each other. We should try to listen and see what is then possible, and then we try to find solutions. And might not happen today, but maybe in a year, we do step by step.
One last very specific question. Tell us a little bit more about microplastic from dishwashers. This interests me too. I know about washing machines, but dishwashers was a new one on me.
Well, it's the same thing. It's heat, and it's most plastic tooling that you have, bowls or cups or anything that you have. You could much better wash them by hand. It's easier, it's safe, and you should not use them in cooking maybe, but for salads it's okay. But if you wash them in dishwashers, they get fragmented. So you lose it in the sewer system, in the water that's flowing out of your dishwasher. But the heat and the washing will also destroy your plastic product. So the next time you eat from it, you get more plastic in your body.